When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Marcus Aurelius. I first came across Stoicism when I stumbled on the works of author Ryan Holiday, who champions the teachings of the Stoics through his books and social media pages. I quickly learned that Stoic authors weren't out-of-this-world philosophers debating life's meaning while high on a heroic dose of ancient mushrooms. They came from all walks of life, teachers and soldiers, poets and senators, slaves and emperors. Different backgrounds, one common trait: they were men of action. Their essential principle was to take control of the only thing we have guaranteed control over: our minds. Stoicism encourages individuals to live in the present moment, to detach themselves from excessive desires and attachments, and to embrace adversity as an opportunity for growth and self-improvement. In this video, we'll discuss my top 5 questions that you can ask yourself daily, and that will immediately transform your life for the better. 1. What does my ideal day look like? The Stoic philosopher Seneca says, "A life is made of days." How we spend each day is how we spend our lives. If you look at each day as a compressed version of what you want your life to be, how would you choose to spend your time? What you decide to do every day will determine whether you move toward the life you want to lead or not. I'd urge you to write down what your ideal day looks like and then slowly work towards realizing it. You need to ask yourself, is what I'm doing getting me closer to the life I want? For example, my ideal day includes waking up and doing something creative for a couple of hours, like making music, then doing some reading, going to the gym, and also going for a walk in nature. In the evening, I want to spend it catching up with friends and family. Stoic teacher Epictetus asks, how long will you wait? How long are you going to wait before you demand the best of yourself? 2. Is this in my control? Epictetus said, "The chief task in life is simply this, to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself which are externals, not under my control, and which ones have to do with the choices I can actually control. Where do I then look for good and evil? Not to uncontrollable externals, but within myself to the choices that are my own." This concept in Stoicism is widely known as the dichotomy of control. It distinguishes between 2 categories: things that are within our control, up to us, and things that are outside of our control, not up to us. According to Stoicism, the only things that are truly within our control are our thoughts, beliefs, attitudes, and actions. Examples include our choices, perspectives, judgments, intentions, and the way we respond to events. On the other hand, there are numerous external factors that lie beyond our control, such as the actions of others, time, weather, societal circumstances, and even our own physical bodies to some extent. These things are subject to various influences and are not entirely up to us. The Stoics argue that placing excessive value or concern on things outside of our control leads to frustration, anxiety, and a sense of powerlessness. They advocate for directing our attention and efforts toward what is within our control: our own thoughts, choices, and actions. By doing so, we can cultivate inner tranquility, wisdom, and resilience, regardless of external circumstances. As Epictetus says, make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. 3. What is the worst that can happen? Stoics encourage us to confront our fears and anxieties by imagining and mentally preparing for the worst outcomes. By doing so, we seek to diminish the power that fear and uncertainty hold over us. This can be difficult, as we often have a natural inclination to avoid thinking about negative outcomes. Stoics argue that when we face the worst-case scenarios in our minds, we often realize that they are not as catastrophic as they initially seem. We can reduce uncertainty's power and find a sense of calmness and control in a potentially chaotic situation. Imagine you are preparing for a job interview that you consider crucial for your career advancement. You have invested a significant amount of time and effort in your preparations, but you still feel anxious and worried about the outcome. You constantly dwell on the worst-case scenario, being rejected and not getting the job. A Stoic individual in this situation would acknowledge that the ultimate decision regarding the job offer is outside of their control. They would recognize that they can only control their own preparation, performance during the interview, and how they handle the aftermath. Rather than succumbing to anxiety and fear, a Stoic would focus on the aspects within their control, They would ensure that they have adequately prepared, researched the company, and polished their interview skills. During the interview itself, they would give their best effort and be present in the moment, focusing on answering questions to the best of their ability. The Stoic would remind themselves that even if they don't get the job, it is not the end of the world. They would recognize that their worth and happiness are not solely determined by this one opportunity. Instead, they would view the outcome as a chance for growth and learning, regardless of whether it is a success or failure. Ultimately, Stoics do not view worst-case scenarios as something to be feared or avoided. Instead, they see them as opportunities for growth, self-improvement, and the development of wisdom. Stoic author Donald Robertson explains it well. A brave man isn't someone who doesn't experience any trace of fear whatsoever, but someone who acts courageously despite feeling anxiety. 4. Did I practice mindfulness today? In ancient Stoicism, meditation and self-reflection played a significant role. Even the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius engaged in daily meditation before commanding his generals to go to battle. Nowadays, we may not be hurling spears, but we strive to evaluate our strengths and weaknesses. This introspection can only occur through self-reflective practices. Consider incorporating a brief meditation session into your morning routine. Dedicate a few minutes each day to slow down and allow your contemplative self to emerge. And above all, hold yourself accountable for practicing mindfulness at least daily. Each night, ask yourself, did I engage in meaningful reflection on today's choices? The response can be as simple as yes or no. The objective is to foster mindful habits that will benefit you in the long term. 5. What am I grateful for today? Marcus Aurelius said, all you need are these: certainty of judgment in the present moment, action for the common good in the present moment, and an attitude of gratitude in the present moment for anything that comes your way. Stoics emphasize the importance of gratitude as a key aspect of their philosophy. They believe that cultivating gratitude can bring about a sense of contentment, perspective, and inner peace. However, the Stoics practiced a slightly different form of gratitude. It was more inclusive and counterintuitive. It wasn't just about being grateful for the good, but for all of life. Convince yourself that everything is the gift of the gods, was how Marcus Aurelius put it, that things are good and always will be. The first keyword there is everything. The other keyword is convince, meaning you have to tell yourself that it's all good, even the so-called bad stuff. It may feel counterintuitive to be grateful for the tough times. How can we be grateful for losing a job, the breakup of a relationship, or the passing of a loved one? Viewing such situations with gratitude may be difficult, but it is possible. If we take a step back and see the big picture, we may come to realize that not only the good things, but also the challenges we have endured, are responsible for shaping who we are. To quote Ralph Waldo Emerson, cultivate the habit of being grateful for every good thing that comes to you, and to give thanks continuously. And because all things have contributed to your advancement, you should include all things in your gratitude.